Peace and love, everyone. Peace and love. Welcome to Wednesday Mysticism. Thanks for being here. Wednesday Meditation. Thanks for being here live. Thanks for watching by recording. Hey, Judith over there in the Ozarks. Yeah, we're thinking about the folks in the path of the hurricane and hoping, praying for safety for people and that they can get out. You can hear the birds in the background here. That's my outdoor mic. I'll leave it on until it gets too noisy. If it's too noisy, let me know. Maybe it's too loud. I can't really tell on my end. I can adjust it over here. So let me know. It looks like it's moving south. Well, I hope so, Catherine, the hurricane. So what we do here, welcome everybody. What we do here is a little bit of teaching and a little bit of meditation. Actually, more meditation than teaching is the way that I like to do it, because meditation practice matters more than study. Meditation is self-study, and we're going to come to that in a minute. On Wednesdays, we've been going through some of the work that we're doing on Tuesdays in our Kriya Yoga Sutra meditation teaching class on Tuesdays on Zoom. And you can find all that info at my website, peterpanagore.love. If you want to join us, there's a library going back weekly to January. So you can always catch up, and I try to plan each one of those lessons so that it's accessible to everybody, as we often do. So I want to talk about, on Wednesdays, we want to kind of recap some of the Yoga Sutra stuff, so we can learn new techniques, more techniques to add to our regular meditation practice, aka ritual practice, because it takes self-discipline. And we're going to come to some of the meditations soon. Just checking the chat there. So this is an overall, I've got my notes here. This is an overall, I'm going to turn this down now because I hear a car. It's harshing my mellow woman. Today's theme, it's an overview of the Yoga Sutras, Book 2. Yoga Sutras by Patanjali, 3,000 years old, in written form, much older in oral form, techniques and practical aspects, practical tools for the practice of meditation 2. And this is what Book 2 is all about, achieving liberation, which is another word for enlightenment. So there are practices that one can add to one's life in a whole bunch of different ways and increase your spiritual growth in your daily life and in your meditation life, in your interactive life. And this is what Yoga Sutras Book 2 cover. And so we're going to briefly run through this so you get an overview of what's coming. The theme of Book 2, it focuses on practice, discipline, and the path to spiritual liberation. Practice, discipline, practice of spiritual meditation lead to liberation. Going too fast for my own head this morning. So the tools work. That's the thing of it. I've been practicing these tools for 40 years, and I don't know that they're going to work for you, but I know that they're working for lots of people in our class, and I know that they worked for me. What do I mean by work? The tools that are presented, when applied, open one's heart and minds to the connection and the flow of the divine, which purifies one's attachment to self through the practice of self-study and other kinds of study, but self-study, and that self is the capital S, not the little lowercase s, that allows the person to experience the living light of the divine in our daily lives and live in a bubble of heaven, increase that bubble of heaven. And these tools work. Book 2 is really about Kriya Yoga, and Kriya Yoga has to do with breath control, self-discipline, and it achieves this awakening, this spiritual enlightenment. It leads to union, capital U. It leads to union with the infinite, capital I, the infinite beyond all conception. Practice leads to union with the infinite. I know that when I read this and I understood this 40-something years ago, I wanted that thing because that's what happened to me in my near-death experience. And then subsequently through these practices, my Kundalini awakening, I thinned my veil. I thinned my veil and made myself available to divine grace. Meanwhile, learning the practices of self-mind control for non-attachment, or as uh, Christians call it, discipline, the discipline of self. That it's a discipline of self. So anyway, breath control, self-discipline equals spiritual growth, to union. And it people say, "Oh, let's do a ritual." Well, a ritual is something that you do over and over and over again. It's not something that you do once. I've heard New Age people say, "Let's create a ritual," which is great. I love that idea. I've participated in baby naming things instead of christenings with rituals that the couple have invented. But an actual ritual, and it was beautiful. An actual ritual means that it's a rite of practice. And meditation, Kriya Yoga, the practice of achievement of enlightenment, and we've already talked about why that's a troubled way to put it in other videos, but it's convenient to talk about it this way. The achievement of enlightenment comes through self-discipline, and there's really no way around that. And you can and that can be either through or in some combination, which is the way I practice it, meditation and living in the world. And book 2 covers how to live in the world. We'll come to that in a second. Uh, so it has to do with self-study, the study of your own higher self, and of course, surrender. It's always about surrender. And I've mentioned this before. The word Islam means surrender. There it is in Islam. It's surrender, surrender of self to the divine. The one thing that's always in my way is me. I'm my mind, my identity, myself. Well, my self identity. It's the thing in my way. I don't lose my self identity. I lose attachment to my self identity. I see it for what it is. I realize that my self identity, which is real and hurts and loves and all this, feels and tastes, and it has a reality to it. But I'm an actor on a stage. To think of Shakespeare. To live this life as a witness to one's own self is an understanding of non-attachment, which allows the free flow of the divine presence, and the tools of the Yoga Sutra, they just work. So we'll talk about self-study, self-surrender, and actions, outside actions in the world, how we behave and how we treat other people and treat ourselves. And it's all about, you may hear these words: purification, purity, clarity. She's the clearest person I've ever met. This has to do with the humility of non-attachment. And the practice of non-attachment in one's daily life and in one's interior practice creates this clarity, because we're stepping aside. And you find this in Western mysticism. Evelyn Underhill. You find this in Western mysticism and the Theological Germanica and St. Francis of Assisi and Julian of Norwich. Everybody's got it because it's a universal thing. It's not just the East. It's not just the West. It's the structure of the human mind in relationship to the higher self. And when you purify your mind, when you practice techniques that give you clarity of self, then the avenue to the divine, the presence, self asserts. The goodness just speaks for itself. So we're also going to come to Ashtanga yoga, which you may have heard the word before, especially in the 80s and in the 70s. The Ashtanga yoga movement, it has to do with his eightfold, eight-limb path, moral restraints. And we'll come to these. We'll cover these in detail. We'll cover everything in detail over the coming months. Moral restraints, it's a guide to ethical living. Observances, rites, physical postures, asanas, how you incorporate your yoga into your body. Breath control, withdrawal from senses. This has to do with meditation. You've had this experience. Mental concentration. You've had this experience. Meditation. You've had this experience. These are all the 8-limb path has things that you've already been doing if you've been here any more than 3 weeks, let alone 3 years. But all of these 7 lead to liberation, absorption, or union with the object of meditation, as we covered in book 1. So I choose as the object, the underlying object of my meditation, the infinite itself, the light itself, the divine being itself. And I use my mind and my breath to focus myself in order to control my thoughts, in order to lead to liberation and enlightenment. And it's not a perfect person. It's a perfect clarity of the light itself, or an improved clarity of the light itself, because the filter is always in the freaking way. I got my brain in the way every day. And I live in my body, so I'm always filtering through my body. But these practices actually do what they say they want to do. Now, I didn't know that when I began this practice 40 something years ago and incorporated it into my Christian life when I was a United Church of Christ minister, hiding out in the church, practicing these techniques in the context of Christianity, because they're found there too, which is what I found in Underhill's book back when I was in graduate school at Yale. And the idea of the tools showed me, the idea of the tools led me to practice, and the practice led me to living in a bubble of heaven. It's not near-death experience and mystical experience or psychedelic experience at the end of oneness isn't the end. It's the beginning of clarity. And if you're here, I assume that you're in pursuit of the same thing I am. The singleness, the oneness of being, the infinite, the union, the light that pervades all things, the higher supreme self, my beloved, your beloved. Jesus said, my Father. There's so many different names. The Ein Sof. We talked about this from Kabbalah the other day. The infinite. It's all it takes is practice and living in it. Thank you for praying for me, Roger. I sure appreciate it. Yeah, I need a little bit of rest, and I haven't gotten any for a long time, and I could sure use some. But I'm not complaining because I'm not in the eye of a hurricane, and I haven't lost my house to a flood. So, jeepers. Hey, Big Gaz. The Matrix, hi DD. The Matrix is not for me. Me neither, pal. I can't wait till I have a conversion with another infinite being, and I can't communicate with anyone these days. Well, you can communicate with us here, Big Gas. This is what we're doing here, and on Sundays at Mystic Tea Salon, top of the hour at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Join us there. Anyway, I don't want to run out of time here. I want to get to the meditation because this is the thing that's practical and works and grounds me every day. So I've been doing this since 1977. I started meditation, Kriya Yoga in 1980. Why do I continue to practice? Because it grounds me every day. It grounds me in the ground of my being. And it makes me capable of living out the things that we're going to find as we go through the Yoga Sutra Book 2. All right, my friends. Yeah, the world is upside down. I want to heal myself, but this world is upside down literally, and my reality doesn't change until everyone sees how they've lived their whole lives. We can't make them, though. We can only work on ourselves. The world, the power of the divine isn't the telling of it to others and asking them to see themselves. It's the being of it in ourselves that allows them to see the light inside us, which gives them the light inside themselves to see. It's this action through not action. That it's this changing the world by changing oneself. Yeah, raise your own vibration. This is the way. Become a beacon of light, a channel of heaven. And then you radiate it to the people around you. And you don't even have to say anything. All right. Let's amen. Amen, says Kristen. All right. I want to get to the meditation. I already got the alarm set. My eyes are closed. If you're just joining us, let's go with some beginner meditation here this morning. If you've been practicing with me for a while, do your own thing. I'm going to move the mic away in a minute or two because I want to be able to do my own thing, and I don't want to have you listen to my breathing. Let's start with our feet flat on the floor. If you're brand new here, you breathe into your belly, have a mantra, a prayer word, Om. You can use Om. We're going to chant a little bit of that. Pause at the bottom. Exhale out your nose if you're a beginner. Feel your breath, listen to your breath. Pick a chant, a prayer. Breathe it in. Pause. Breathe it out. And when your mind wanders, come back to your breath, come back to your chant. You're channeling your mind into a single track. This is single-minded practice. Brain plasticity will learn. All right, let's go. You can jump into that centering prayer practice after we do a little bit of oming, but feel the vibration in your chest, feel it in your throat, feel it in your jaw. Use your physical body to focus your mind. I'm going to move my mic away a little. Filling your belly and your lungs. Peace and love, you guys. Thanks for being here. I see you, Lisa says. Thank you. I see you. I hope to. I hope I will see you in live. I met a lot of cool people, but I've never had a conversation about anything. Learned with anyone one night. Venting would make my day. Contact me. Make an appointment. Let's talk, big guess. Peace and love, everyone. Thanks for being here. See you Sunday.